Yes, and not even paying any attention, right? They just had their way with it.
Things. I didn't think that they were
All set,
sweet,
okay.
but they are.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're gonna get started. Good evening, Litchfield, and welcome to the June 5th meeting of the Conservation Commission. We'll start off with a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call. Roll call. Do you want to just go around the room?
Kibben, secretary.
Harry Ziggy, member.
Jason Brennan, Vice Chair.
Matt Hoffman, Chair.
Fred French, member.
Diane Plansky, selectman's rep.
George Lavash, alternate.
All right, so we're missing Michael Crudo. George, would you like to be a
Oh, sure, I'd love to vote.
voting member? All right, thank you.
Great.
All right, we got a pretty busy agenda, so we want to get to a few things, and then we have a guest here, Reggie Moreau, to talk about several items. To start off, do we have any public input? All right, we do have a candidate for the Conservation Commission. Aiden, would you like to come up and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ada McCarthy. I've been in this town for
You
almost.
can have a seat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, have a seat,
Okay.
and give your
Take a
address
load
as well.
off there, bro.
Oh, give an address too?
Yeah.
Okay. I live in 19 Burgess Street, Litchfield, New Hampshire. I've been in this town for 10 years. I graduated Campbell High School back in 2021. I'm attending New England College, and I'm double majoring in environmental studies and business administration. And I have a part-time job in the summer as a sailing instructor down the Cape.
Do
And
you
you work in the
commute?
community garden.
Yes, yeah.
And then you also have been at the community garden for a couple of years, correct?
Yes, yeah.
You know, what's your interest in Conservation Commission?
I just love being in the environment, in nature. I just want to give back to my community, and I believe that this is the way.
Yeah, it sounds good. Does anybody have questions for Aiden?
I didn't hear you. I do commute back and forth in the summer. Do you stay down the Cape?
I commute, or sometimes, but yeah.
Do you give private sailing instruction?
Yeah.
I could use some.
You could probably give it.
Are you recruiting people for your team, Joan?
Yeah. Tuesday night, be there. So your availability would be 6:30 on, we only meet the first Thursday of the month.
Yeah, yeah.
What would you be good at?
Pretty much anything.
Yeah, do you like to mow?
Yes.
How about weed whacking?
Yep, anything.
Cutting
Pulling
trees that
invasives.
are across paths
Yep.
and
Managing the community garden?
helping with the community
Yep.
garden, yes.
I'm sure we could keep them busy.
I think you're right.
So what's our process here? Do we have to? Well,
You
first
can
of all, is there
send an
any other
email to the
questions?
selectman.
Well, he has to fill out
Recommending him.
did you fill out
He
anything
filled
online?
out the
Yeah, online thing,
application.
okay. And
Both
then-
applications, there's
Both?
supposedly two.
Two,
There's
yeah,
like
there's
one
two.
online and then there's a deep application.
Right. I think Kim,
Yes.
Oh, is
Did you
that-
fill
that-
it out?
Is that new? I've
no,
must
it
be
was
new.
always the deep application, but the new pre-application online is new. And then that goes to
When did you
Kim
do?
or Donna. He did that one, he did the small one, right?
Yeah, just a general
Yeah.
volunteer.
And then they should email you I think Kim emails you the deeper one, and then,
After we give our
that's
recommendation.
right, I
Okay.
think so, yeah.
I have a question. So what did you grow in your community garden plot last year?
Corn, pumpkins.
They were
Well,
organized.
yeah.
Don't grow watermelon, right?
No, I did not try that.
Somebody tried watermelon, and
Yeah.
it was quite tasty.
My wife did it. We got a couple out of it.
Oh,
And they got a couple out of it, and
Oh, animals got a lot out of it.
gonna name the groundhog.
What is your feeling on, like, not by the water, but just using pesticides and that kind of thing, and
It depends on what the ingredients that make up the pesticides, or
well, I'm thinking anything Monsanto makes.
probably not.
I mean, we've got to be real sensitive to the bee population.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you would, you would make a recommendation to, if you vote to,
I'll go for it.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we recommend Aiden to become a alternate member of the Conservation Commission and forward that recommendation off to the Board of Selectmen.
I'll second it.
All right, we got a motion by Jason, seconded by Harry. All those in favor, show of hands.
I,
All right, so the motion carries, what do we have, 7-0-0.
and then you'll hear from,
Okay.
and you'll appear before the selectmen as well.
Okay.
Did you get mud tires for your car?
I tell him he's never gonna live that down.
Well, I got a new car. I just got a new car.
Oh, then don't take it down there.
That was it, huh? Got it
Yep.
stuck once and you're like, forget it, I want a
Yep.
new one.
I charge for the second extraction, okay?
Live and learn.
Too bad there's not a parking lot in there.
All right, thanks, Aiden. You're welcome to sit around.
Okay.
We're actually gonna have to go into non-public for a little
Okay.
while, so we'll have to kick
But that's
you out.
down the end.
Okay.
We have a few
Yeah.
things to discuss before
Okay.
that, if you wanna see how the meeting runs.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank you.
joining.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
I'm gonna take,
And now while Tiana's here,
yeah, I'll do the update. You wanna, this is our intern.
Hi, Tiana.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
All right, hold on a second, man. Let me cue this up for,
do you want the,
yeah, I need to plug. What the heck is it? All right. Thank you.
I apologize to people following, online. We're jumping around the agenda a little bit.
That's okay.
Just this
All right,
thing.
bear with me a second here. All right, so this is Tiana Boyson. This is our intern. And figured that we'd bring her in tonight just to give a quick overview. She's got a couple of weeks under your belt or so. Just to give a quick overview on what has happened to date and like what some of the goals are. And then we're gonna do just like a quick show and tell of something that we've got, a proof of concept that we've got that kind of shows what she's working on. So you can go for it. Are you good?
Yeah,
All right.
I'm Tiana. It's nice to meet you. I live in Litchfield. My dad grew up here. Have you heard of Jay Boyson, probably? Yeah. Basically, what we've been doing is we've been working on a story map, and it will explain each conservation area in the town. And if, as the audience, as a viewer, when you go onto the story map, so here we have the title,
All right, hold on, I'm getting there. There we go. Yeah.
a tour through Litchfield conservation areas. So you have Morris Falls, and what you do is you click on the bullet, and it'll kind of bring you to it, and it'll give you the history. And this is kind of a rough draft right now, and we're gonna add, fun facts, and it's just to show the town a little bit more about each conservation area, really. Musterfield.
And so what she's primarily doing, maybe talk a little bit about how you went through and identified the conservation lands and like did a little bit, talked to Joan and did research on the history. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Joan and I met recently, and we went over a map and confirmed that it was the most recent version and that we had, access to each conservation area. And we kind of discussed what they have available there. So for example, fishing or bird watching or snowshoeing, like that. Just things that, you know, people would want if they were to travel there. And I was able to get down to Parker Park and Community Garden and take pictures myself with my camera, so I got some good pictures there. And I met with the historical folks as well. Steve was his name, I think. And yeah, I got some good information from them too.
Do you have everything you need from them?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
So it's the concept is to, you know, what we've identified the high level areas, but be able to drill into the area and look
Yeah.
at like the muster field, for instance, there's several points of
So this is
interest
like
there.
yeah, we were talking about this today, so there'll be a high-level overview, and then we'll get into like the details of an individual property. So at the high level, these are like, we kind of call this the top 10 list, there's actually 8. So these are the properties that, for the most part, people access and go hiking at and stuff like that. So, from here, there's just like, she's put together a little marketing spiel on each one, and then a little bit of the history underneath here. And as you kind of scroll down through here, it takes you to conservation area number 2, the river access, a little bit of history over here, location over here, and same thing over on the muster field. And as we kind of scroll through, she's going to be having the photos and historical photos that will roll through there. When we get down to, let me just kind of roll through this thing. When we get down to the muster field, we just kind of started framing this out. It'll be hyper focused on the actual muster field site, and there will be content and like history related to each dot on the map, and then we'll be able to send someone via like a QR code so when we get to the site. We're monkeying around today on the look and the feel, like there's different layouts for this, and so we're gonna work on that. The big thing now is that she's like gathering the information, which is the key part.
Yeah, that's great. It looks good. People in town will definitely appreciate this. We've been waiting for this for a long time.
So Jason, when you're at the muster field, will the detail be scrolled under the heading or where?
Yep, when we get to the muster field, it'll be like this, Joan. You know, see how there's dots for,
Yeah,
you got dots for the community garden here, and you got one for Parker Park.
yeah,
And if you either click on the dot or I'm just like scrolling my mouse down and it's kind of just jumping around based on the
yeah.
numbers 1 through 10, it's gonna give a brief history over here.
Right.
And then there'll be a whole series of photos. I
Oh,
did
okay.
find that photo, George.
Okay, good.
A whole series of photos related to that.
That's awesome.
And so, for example, if you go to that trolley car or electric car, as Stephen would say, you could have a QR code at the trolley car, the trestle, right? So we can put posts at various spots, and the QR code could link to this page directly. Right?
That's the goal.
And the same with the muster field, we can put posts at all of those different spots, and even some of them, you could be looking across the road, right at the, yeah.
I think so, yeah. When you talked to Stephen Calawa, did he give you history of across the street too?
Yes.
All right, because I think that all, even though it's not conservation land,
Across which street, what from the
the old town hall, the
Oh.
church.
The
you know.
tavern and,
the trolley car, you could also say, car 36 is in Kennebunkport, Maine, actually
Oh.
runs.
Write that down.
The
Intern,
trolley
right?
museum.
That's a good one.
I think I sent you that link to that, to that, where it is.
oh, that's cool. So it's actually
Oh, you
running
said
out now?
36?
I think it runs. I think it's number 36. I
It's
think.
running in Kennebunkport?
I know it's there, I don't,
Okay.
they do have one that runs, I don't know if it's that
Okay.
one, might be.
So we were talking today, I think that at the end, we need to make sure that we've got this set up for the web, for the general public. And then, a big map that will go into the kiosks at the muster field, that will be the 10 sites with them kind of labeled. And then maybe the same at Moore's Falls.
Yep.
And then, if we have time, we start getting down to the individual QR codes at each site.
Yep.
We definitely want to have one at the trestle, for sure. We're gonna plow through this as fast as we can.
At the trestle,
Yeah, it
at Parker
sounds
Park?
good. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
as
think
long
that
as we
would be
get it
cool.
documented right, we can follow up with the posts and the QR codes, but I mean, I think that's a reasonable project for us this year anyways, so.
Yep. Think so. All right,
Wow,
I'll
it
put
looks,
zooming around.
looks awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna look pretty cool, I think, in the end.
Tiana, is there anything you need from us?
I think I'm okay. Thank you, though.
You know where to find us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You having
That's
any
it.
fun? Have you learned anything?
Yeah.
You learned a lot? Yeah, there's a ton to know. Have you been through the Historical Society's building yet?
No, I've never been in there.
You should ask Stephen to take you. He's the one to give you the tour.
Yeah.
It's
They
really
might be open
fascinating.
this Saturday, I heard, maybe.
You go through there though, and you'll see a lot of pictures that you might want to add to this as well, that you can snap.
All right, well, thank you,
Okay,
Tiana.
thank you.
Yeah.
Tell Sadie I said hi. Okay.
All right, next up, Reggie, would you like to come up? We got a few things to talk to you about.
Jumping around here, aren't we? Close that door. You can close that, thanks. Thanks, Aiden.
You don't have to hang around. You're good.
You can if you want. We're very interesting.
All right, where do you want to start?
All right, maybe the sidewalk?
Okay.
That should take a few hours.
Well, hopefully not. It shouldn't, I mean, it shouldn't be
Well, I
that
don't think it's, Jason has an update from National Grid.
complicated,
I have the plan of, it's actually the subdivision plan. The original plan said 6 foot. Can we go 8 foot if we end up doing this? Because it's 8 foot out here, 8 foot wide.
You mean, to go into the neighborhood?
The one that goes across Morris Falls.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean,
Yeah, it's in
2
a
extra
couple
feet's
feet,
not
yeah.
huge.
Well, Jason, can you kind of give us a summary of where we
I'd love to.
stand right now with what's been,
That's what they
you
were
know,
asking.
approved by Fish and Game and?
Yep. So the summary is I did go through the planning board meeting minutes and I did like rewatch the meetings from 2022. Reggie agreed to build a sidewalk from the south end of their property to Moores Falls. And that was in the motion, as part of the conditional approval of that plan. That's like part one, so that's gotta get done. Part two, layering on top of that, is we have a fish and game easement on that property. And then we also have a, National Grid easement on top of that property. Joan has been in touch with Fish and Game. I have been in touch with National Grid, and I actually finally got an email back from them today, stating that it took a year, I've been out a year, that with zero contact back, none, not even a, hey, we're gonna get on this. So I sent an email to them, I think, yes, last night, and was a little bit,
You guys still alive?
yeah, I kind of, laid it on the line. And they got back to us and said that they're gonna have their review done shortly, but they don't anticipate there are gonna be any problems. That's where we're at there.
But
So,
they did say that one pole, though.
They said that there's an issue with the sidewalk being close to the pole. That was just a comment. That's,
Yeah, that's, the
So
new
there's
people
gotta
would,
be, some sort of, whatever, 50-foot right-of-way or whatever that they,
I don't
I'm sure we can
they just don't
figure out
like
some way to get around.
equipment near their poles,
Yeah, it's more of a, they don't want to see a vehicular incident with a pole.
safety, yeah.
It's a safety concern. It's not anything to do with electrical or
Someone
anything like
were-
that.
Well, it's not gonna be approved for any sort of besides
No,
bicycles,
no, even
right?
when you're constructing, though.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Oh, okay.
They have an easement and they have that easement's old, really, really old. And in most places, that's what they have. Then they have what they call their wish list, which is today, that don't align. So what they wish for today to not happen in their easements is not what is actually in the easements. And we had this discussion quite some time ago with them when we were looking at doing the detention ponds and those kinds of things. And they came back and we said, nowhere in the easement is that noted. Oh, well, that's what our preference is. Well, I'm sorry. You know, that's not how it works. And I had the same issue with them up in Concord on another project. And unfortunately, you know, you send them in a check because they want to get paid for the review. And in this case, I think it was around $2,000. And I didn't hear from them, and I kept calling them as Jason did. And I finally got in touch with somebody, and the guy said, well, the reason why we're not responding to you is we haven't got your $2,000 yet. And I said, really? I said, that was cash 9 months ago. I said, you have my $2,000. Oh, we do? And I said, yes, so what's your response now? Well, what are you looking to do?
Oh my God.
And so, anyway, long story short, it all got addressed through basically silence. We said, look, if we sent them off a letter saying, if we don't hear from you, then we're assuming that everything's fine. And we never did. And that was the only way we could get a response from them.
Wow.
And that was on the suggestion of our attorney that they just said to do that, just to send it off, because they're like the railroad. It's the same thing. You can send it off, and it sits in their bureaucracy. And if you put it that way, they'll respond to you if there's a problem, and if there isn't, then, you know, so be it. And that's how we had to kind of get them off of dead center. So I feel your pain.
Yeah, big time. But the kicker is, and this is the big thing that we've got to figure out, is that Joan talked to Fish and Game, and they don't want a paved surface across the top of that property. And in my opinion, we've got to get a paved surface in there.
Well, why?
Why?
So
Because
let's go back to that real quick.
I think Kim had
it's
told
not a
me,
sidewalk if it's not paved.
well, I think Kim had told me
Yeah.
you have to pave it.
What they're concerned with is, again, anytime you have a non-paved surface, is, you know, the concerns with maintenance, number one,
Yeah.
it's a lot more to maintain. Two, safety. You know, so it's something that, you know, is never preferred if it's gonna be a usable, you know, like a highly usable walkway like the one we have on Albuquerque. For instance, that would be considered unacceptable.
Exactly.
Okay, as the Fish and Game easement is worded, I don't believe they have anything they can stand on to require that, okay? So I think it's a matter of pushback and say, look, I'm sorry, but the liability that the town would have to take on for something of this nature, because it's gonna be a connection that we're doing throughout the town, like Albuquerque, we have to have certain expectations. You know, there's gonna be enough green space on both sides to handle any treatment before it gets to anywhere in that space.
Not to mention, if you have a hard packed surface, that's impervious as well.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right.
Yeah,
Right.
Um,
So I think, you know, and we did explore the options of trying to put it up along Route 3 originally, 3A. And because of all the drainage work that would be required, number one, if you put it up there, you need curbing. If you need curbing, then you need underground drainage, okay? And all of that work, that's, you're talking lots and lots of money. That's what we looked at for, and gave the easement for the widening of Route 3A for the improvements on Corning, all the way across our property. We gave them 15 feet. So if and when that gets done, that can be on the state's nickel. And that can be addressed. If you decide you want to move the sidewalk,
plus you'd be in the states right away.
and we'd be inside the states right away.
Good luck with that.
So, I mean, and that they don't want either, because they don't want anybody jumping the curb and taking anybody out on the sidewalk. They don't want the liability of any of that. Plus, you know, the snow removal and all that other stuff that goes along with it. So that was gone through way at the beginning and discounted pretty quickly. So, again, going back, I think that the thing that needs to happen here, and I don't mind being the bad guy, you know, I think we need to push back and tell them, look, this is what we've done throughout the town. We need to do it here as well. We don't see where it's gonna create any harm. I think you guys are they're being overzealous with what they're, first of all, I don't even think they can request that. but I think they're being overzealous with their thought process as to it's gonna protect something, and I don't know what they're thinking that they're gonna protect. Like I said, there's enough green space both forward between Route 3, which all that water runs off from Route 3A, onto that space, that's where it all goes, it doesn't sit on Route 3A, there is no drainage there. Anything in that area all comes off onto, so you've got a much larger paved area that's coming off onto that. Our wonderful thing that we happen to have here in Litchfield is very permeable soils, so it never goes anywhere, it just goes in. And so we don't really have any water issues, fortunately, and it's the same thing there, that all of that there is very permeable soil. So I think a little bit of pushback is well deserved in this situation to put the sidewalk the way it needs to go.
Because
We can-
have you read their conservation easement? You probably
It
have.
was read out loud in one of the meetings that we had.
Yeah.
I think Jason did it at one time, and that's where I'm basing
Well, they
this
say
upon.
unpaved paths or trails,
And then it has an exception,
and then it says,
had to do with recreation, if I remember
right.
correctly.
Structures improvements such as unpaved roads, dams, fences, footbridges, culverts may be constructed, placed, or introduced into the property as necessary in the accomplishment of the non-commercial outdoor recreational uses of this easement, and have been approved by the grantee after submission of plans thereto. But you're right, it's such a small area being paved that,
And like I said, there's such a large plateau there,
yeah,
that water is never
Yeah.
gonna go anywhere but the edges of that sidewalk.
right.
It's just, seems silly.
If that weren't paved, Joan, it would turn into an absolute overgrown mess. We would be mowing the thing, rocks would be flying all over the
Kevin
place.
said he won't plow it if it's not paved,
Right.
Kevin Brown, and
It'll,
And in 2022, I think it was 2022, the town adopted a zoning something
the sidewalk, right.
in which sidewalks are required in the northern commercial district with the goal of connecting everything. And so that vision is pretty clear, and to me, it's gotta be paved. Wherever it's located, it's gotta be paved.
And I think, I'm pretty sure Kim had told me that it has to be plowed. If you're going to have the sidewalk, and you've mandated it in the zoning, that's an important point, that you've gotta maintain it.
So how do we handle this with Fish and Game?
I say let Reggie be the bad guy.
I don't have a problem. I'd be more than happy to go up and have that discussion with them.
Here's
I mean,
who,
if they physically come out and take a look at what they're trying to attempt to do, it's not like we're going through the middle of the woods and trying to pave a
Right.
trail.
Right.
It's just not that. So I think we gotta get them to get their eyes on it, and I think we need to have a real sit-down practical.
I did meet with, Charlotte, she's on this, Harding, and showed her she measured it off and everything. And then Jim Ollier, was Wildlife Habitat Program Supervisor, came back with this. I'll give you all of this, I can reprint it. Here's the actual easement, and there's the latest correspondence.
Perfect.
Reggie, do you have a copy of the easement document?
I just gave it to him.
Oh, that's it? Okay, sorry.
yeah,
I was kinda
yeah.
looking for it, sorry about that.
So I can I'll reprint mine.
All right, so Reggie, do you need anything from us to?
No,
follow
let me
with
go
them?
up and really sit down and have a conversation.
That would be great.
Yeah, I think it really just they need to put eyes on what we're really talking about.
And that, I didn't really
Understand the
make the
importance.
connection that it runs the length of the town, that's really
Right.
important too, and connects to everything.
Yeah, like I said, I can understand what their easement was intended for,
Yeah.
and I don't believe it was intended to.
Actually, that raises a question, a separate one, but since it's gonna connect up to the Moore's Falls parking lot, we don't maintain that during the winter. Is there-
Yeah, the plan would be, it's gonna basically generally run along just the inside of the fence.
Right.
And then when it gets to the parking lot, it's gonna cut through the fence with that, probably at the post that, if frost heaved up, it drives me nuts every single time I drive by there. There's one post that like popped up a little bit. I'm gonna go like dig that up and drop it down.
We've noticed that.
And then it will, did you notice that?
No.
Okay, you will.
We will
Now
now.
that you drive by.
And, so it will, where the sign is, where the Moore's Falls sign is, it will most likely cut through the other side of the fence there.
Okay,
and then run along the right of way.
so will we have to pave through the parking lot there?
We'll have to work that out
No, I don't think,
with,
I don't think we would pay to, we would, like,
We'd have to plow through it though, right? Plow it if we're gonna keep
what are you
that.
saying, would it turn and then go by the sign and then continue on over to
here,
the gas station?
let me bring up a Google
I've got the
map.
plan here.
My eyes are always on that fence, it's a little.
Matt, could I have the cord? Okay.
Paper, there's tons of paper.
Okay, so, these are probably, so, let me just see if I can go to Street View here. It might be old, Street View might be really old. Yep. Oh, nope, we're good, no. Kinda old, but not.
Which one, which is the post you're talking about?
See it? Stands out.
So the post is right here, that, that was perfectly even when we.
Oh,
And someone say
So I think
OCD.
the cut through would probably be around here somewhere,
to go around the rock.
and then come down this way. And then, I think as part of Thoreau's development, we're gonna have to, figure out this stretch. But he's gonna end, Thoreau is gonna end, I'm assuming, we'll need to talk to Mr. Charbonneau, and he's got the plan, I think. But I think that the Thoreau sidewalk is gonna end around here somewhere. And,
Should at our property, it should go to the property.
yeah, the property marker is in here somewhere. You could see it right there. Let me get to the aerial view, just
But
to,
why wouldn't we go around by the sign and through and connect up to his path that he's gonna make?
To wrap up around the backside of the parking lot?
Yeah.
He had another one he was gonna do.
He's gonna make a cut through
To the gas station?
from the gas station. He's gonna
So
make
the
a
gas,
cut
they could go from they could get,
through. And they wouldn't have to
get
walk
sweet
along
treats.
3A,
Keep them away from the road.
yeah.
I guess we can, when we get to that point, we can figure it out, but I'm gonna just doodle on this.
There was on the gas station plan,
Yeah.
as she said, a path
Yeah,
going
to cut
to
through around
the
there.
backside, yes.
yep.
Let's just put the,
But I
what,
think there was two. I think there was one that was like a back,
No, there's just one
just one?
from the gas station.
this is the original thought, right there.
Yeah, and that's still putting people right on 3A.
Yeah.
Well, there's gonna be a sidewalk there anyway.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a sidewalk ending right at
Yeah, but
that.
then, but there's also gonna, oh, I see what
I
you're saying.
don't think
If
we
you're
wanna
gonna-
put someone onto a private property and then.
Because maybe they're not going to the gas station, maybe they're gonna continue
Yeah.
further.
Right, good point, very good point.
Yep.
And then what was just kinda shown here is like, loop it around here, I don't know.
They wanted something with like picnic tables and
Bit-
a little path to Morris Falls.
There was a little path, I don't know about picnic tables, there's gonna be a new owner.
I think,
Diane, you're correct in that, like, say the building is right here,
yeah.
they are building a little cut through.
Yeah.
Good memory,
Yeah.
they're building a little cut through right there.
Now, why would they do that?
They want people to come come
so
up and buy
people can
pizza and go down
Have
to
their
the.
donut and then bring it over to
Okay,
our stuff.
from Morris Falls, when
Yeah, they're
they,
gonna put a
Yeah.
trash can here and people.
Yep.
But then,
It's gonna kick up our trash for sure.
Well, hopefully they'll have the trash.
But it will
cans.
They will.
get our nips bottles out from behind that bush.
Okay.
and
throw
Thoreau is
full
gonna pick
ones
up
either.
here,
Yeah,
and there's gonna be a sidewalk all the way through, and that's gonna end up going to Albuquerque.
Is that gonna be kinda like the bike path on Albuquerque, is it gonna be offset?
yeah, yeah.
Always, okay, so
And
it's
it's gonna be a
not
through.
directly on 3A.
No, it will be in the right of way, so that case it will be.
It's in the right of
So
way.
it'll have
Close.
road curbing
Yeah.
and everything that.
And there's a, crosswalk on 3A
There's gonna-
with lights.
There's gonna be a crosswalk about here somewhere.
Our first stoplight.
No, press the button
Blinking
lights.
lights.
pedestrian crossing lights on 3A?
Yeah,
The state allowed that?
You gotta know somebody to get that.
Wow. That's unheard of.
Now, what you know,
Okay,
who you
so-
know.
Right, that's fantastic, quite honestly.
okay, so the plan is, you're gonna go and say, we gotta put in asphalt and
Yep.
And don't forget to tell them, if you want 8 foot wide, not 6 feet.
Yeah,
Because we have to plow it, that's why.
exactly, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we know there's hognose snake in the area, they know, but
You're mowing that field.
the side,
If you got a hard-nosed snake, it's not gonna last very long into that mower.
well, they're up in, actually in Rick's, sandy soils, up in the back.
All right, any other discussion on the sidewalk before we move on?
Thank you, Reggie. Lighten it
How
down.
about, Joan, you said there was a issue with Talarico for the,
No, that was resolved.
that's all set, okay. And then Reggie, you wanted to talk about 406?
Yeah, if you guys have a minute,
Time out for a second. The Talarico, did we ever get the deed for
Not
the
yet.
back 40?
you'll be getting that shortly. I shouldn't say shortly. What we were trying to do is, depending on the town, every town is different, and how things come out of current use. And so right now, each and every one of those lots is attached to a larger parcel, which keeps it in current use until such time as we remove it. Some towns try to take it out right up front when the lot is created, others they wait until after the home is built and it's upon CO. So from our standpoint, it makes sense not to pay the carry, and that's why we said we'll deed it out towards the end rather than towards the middle, or towards the beginning. So that's the process we're trying to, for lack of a better term, work around, okay? That's really it, just comes down to that. So typically when we do our subdivisions, we did one up in Hooksett, that's the way we did it. We kept the ownership of the common area until such time as we completed the units that were no longer, benefiting from that acreage.
Yep.
And then that was deeded over, and off we went. And in their case, they just left things be, and we didn't get hit for the current use until we got our COs. Upon COs, we got hit with our current use fee, when it actually changed from our ownership into,
So Hooksit's doing it that way?
that's the way Hooksett did it, yeah. Yeah. Everybody's a little different. I mean, I honestly,
Well, there's kind of a state law that says they're not
There
doing it
is.
right.
yeah, there are, and that's the reason why we do this way. We're doing it in Chester the same way, where we kept the parcel until the end. It's just if the market slows down, it's a big difference in
Sure.
carry. And unfortunately, I've been on that end of the carry when the market slowed down, and you got full rate compared to like $12 a lot. It's, when the market slows down, builders aren't making any money, and it's not a
And
good place to be.
there'll be a little parking area, for access to the area on the end of that cul-de-sac?
So what was designed is that's actually got, and I know that Chad added a lot of gravel into that. Looks like he's got I can see some tracks that come up from his house. Looks like almost like a bulldozer track or something. I'm not too sure what's going on. But, so we've kind of built that in with the gravel. We haven't done anything further yet because we're still filling that area. It was depressed from the road quite a bit. I don't know if you went up there and saw it, but
Yeah.
there's probably a 10 or 12 foot drop there. So we're kind of removing the knolls and kind of leveling the fronts. We did it on the right-hand side of the cul-de-sac. Now we're doing it on the left-hand side. So once we get that built out, then we'll have room to get in there. You'll have the gravel going in, and then we can put a little, I don't know what's on the plan. Whatever's on the plan, we'll have there.
So the road's paved now?
The road's all paved, yeah,
I
just
haven't been over
basically.
there since they cut it in, I just
It's
haven't been able to
nice. I
do
mean,
it.
they've still got a lot of work that they're doing on the sides of the slopes and transformers and
No
those kind of things.
foundations yet?
Huh?
No foundations
We
yet?
put 2 in.
Oh.
So, 2 footings in today. So we'll be doing about 2 a week for the next probably 4 to 6 weeks. And that's our hope.
And so the access is on that right-of-way that's on the end of the cul-de-sac that goes towards Charbonneau's property, right?
That's correct.
And then we have the path, we have, I can't remember how.
20 feet wide.
20 feet wide going along the end of the property, so,
Which is deeded as part of the open space, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
right.
Yeah.
So my question is, the conservation land, that's a separate deed, right?
It's gonna be a separate deed.
Right.
You're taking ownership to that.
Right, so there's a delay in taking that out of current use?
Yes, because if I take that out, it's not so much that's not the issue. When I take that out, all my lots are small and they come out of current use. Right now, they're all under my ownership.
Could you restate that?
So right now, all the lots are small, they're under 10 acres.
Yeah.
And so if technically, and Joan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is the correct interpretation, I don't wanna say the correct, but one
Talking to the
interpretation.
density thing?
No,
No, acreage. So if you have contiguous lots and it's over 10 acres, you can keep things in current use. The minute you get rid of that big lot, everything comes out of current use if you don't have that contiguous 10 acres. So I'm paying full boat on the taxes.
Oh, you would not, yeah, you would not have any contiguous tenant, I get you.
That's the reason,
Okay.
okay? The deed's all written up, ready to go. But fortunately, those lots up there are pretty much almost all spoken for.
Wow.
We put them out 6 at a time, and we sold the 6 within a matter of a week. And then we said, we'll take a couple more, and we took a couple more, and we've held back, and we got people waiting on more releases.
So you're starting on the cul-de-sac?
It wasn't my intention, but when we started marketing, the thing that was done by them first, Continental was there, they had all their stuff down below. I wanted to start on lots 1, 2, and 3 on the right, but everything was being utilized, and of course, we had a nasty frost year, and that was all new stuff that we put on there, and to get in there with heavy equipment to start digging that, would have just beat the equipment up, and I just said, you know what, I don't know when we're gonna get in. With all the rain we had this year, we're 6 weeks behind schedule right now on all of our sites, because of all the rain.
Yeah.
So the guys are working weekends, they're working long hours, and we're trying to get caught up, so. I was actually the one over there digging the cellar holes, because I can't
Is it
get.
fun? Does it have
Well,
equipment?
it's not my preferred place to be. I can do them, but trust me, the foundation guys don't like it when I'm done. They're a little less smooth than when my guys do them, but.
What's
we're-
it called? What's the subdivision called?
Telerico Drive.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was
we
just
did-
gonna-
Drive or street?
Don't say
Drive-
street.
I gotta double check.
Why? I think the plan says street.
It's whatever it is.
I think it says
The
street.
town,
That
whatever,
drives me nuts.
I know.
Streets go somewhere.
well, that will
It's a cul-de-sac.
potentially,
Move back.
yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think the thought process is because we had an interconnect. And I don't think it's ever gonna happen, but if it was to ever
wow.
happen.
Yeah, further down. Yeah.
So I'm not sure, because when we put Telerico out there, I think we put it out as Telerico Drive, and it came back that we needed to have a different nomenclature because of the way that is defined, so.
I thought it was street, so
I could be wrong, I
in the
gotta
voting
double
thing, I
check,
think I
and
put
Oh, it drives
street.
me
I
insane.
confuse it all the time, because I started out one way and it ended up another, and I don't remember which
Okay.
way.
It just should have been moral, but they wouldn't let you do that,
Yeah, I don't know why, but that was,
because you couldn't come, they don't want to cross an intersection and keep the same name.
I got it in Manchester, I got a new one that's called Hummingbird Lane. And, I'm starting from both ends, and they're quite a distance apart. So people are gonna drive in here trying to find that number, and it's gonna be, half a mile down the road the other way, and remember how Albuquerque used to be?
Albuquerque used to be.
Right. It's very similar, so it is what it is. You ready for the,
And I want to know if Steven Tyler's going to come to the dedication.
I don't, it's funny, it's their family, on Deb's side, it's her husband's, ex-husband's, cousin, they're direct cousins, so they share the same, I guess, grandfather or something or whatever.
I'm teasing, but I think it would be cool.
Yeah, they used to see him at the, they have, used to have, family reunions out in Mason, and they used to see him there. Used to bring the kids once in a
He's
while
not
too.
really well though, is he?
Huh?
He's not
He's actually got out and he actually sang not too long ago.
really.
Yeah, his voice, I guess his vocal cords were in pretty rough shape, but
Yeah, yeah.
I guess, he's not trying to do the things that
He was
used to
gonna,
do.
but
right.
how do you stop somebody like that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
How do you do it?
So-
So,
was it 490 Charles Bancroft, right? 490.
490, yeah. So everybody's familiar with the piece that was up for sale, by NAI Norwood.
You can get it on Zillow.
This is,
We have to go to non-public.
No, not for 490.
Oh, for,
this is,
I'm
this is,
sorry,
this
for
is all
90, yeah.
non-public. This is just,
All
Informational.
yeah, this is just
Information.
informational. We're not looking for anything decisive here. This is just to say, hey, two reasons. Number one is, this is, in that new zone. And we're trying to, everybody's trying to build, the, requirements around that new zone, right now in planning. So there's a lot going on. But this will just kind of show you, when I looked at acquiring the property, I was asked a couple of things from the family. One of them was, they would like to have any street that we put in there, named after Sterling.
Finally, Sterling gets his street back, good.
So I told him that I have no dog in the fight on that. But I would certainly put it out there, and if everybody's fine with it, I wouldn't have an issue with it. So that was one of the requests. The second request that we had is if we could do some sort of and again, not a requirement, but just something that was suggested, an elderly side of it, okay?
Okay.
So this shows, in essence, the developable portions of the property, okay? This is not a final plan. This is what we believe could be done. And if you remember correctly, under the new zoning, there's a requirement for the commercial space, of which it's sitting up front on St. Francis Way. When you first come in, the first two buildings on your right and left are those commercial spaces to meet the requirements of the commercial space. One of them actually is gonna be, I'm gonna be locating our office there. So we'll have a real estate office and a building development office there. So that'll be, the thought is that'll be the 5,000 square foot footprint, and we might do a shared use. We might have a couple thousand feet that we'll allow, or have available for somebody else. We're working in about 2,500 square feet right now, and that seems to be just a little shy of what we need, so we might go a little bit larger. And then, of course, the daycare, I have spoken to a couple of providers, and because of the proximity of the school, they would be very interested. It's a natural extension if people are going to drop off their kids at one place to drop off the younger ones at another potentially. So they shared with me that that would be something that they would be interested in. So our suggestion is that we're looking at those two things. And again, this is just for information. It's not by any means cast in stone. This has not been in front of the board, the planning board. I'm bringing it here because I know there's some areas that are gonna be of concern for this board. And so, I just want to, put it out there if there's some things that you want me to look into. The possibilities of doing something different in areas. We're kind of open at this point. We're just in the design stages and we're just kind of getting a feel for, and again, this is all, none of this is to be held for anything. It's just, hey guys, what do you think? And it's, like I said, it's just an opportunity for us to kind of take a few thoughts into place and
So you are thinking of doing some over 55?
that's the thought
Would it all
process.
be?
So what we did is divided it up right now. There's 40 units that are very similar to what we're doing now. Because I don't know if I told you, but I probably didn't. But when we put them on the market, we immediately sold, again, in the first weekend, we sold everything that we had available in the first phase. Okay? We've since, again, it was under AG approval. It needed AG approval. We've since lost 2 of the sales. Just because they didn't want to wait for AG, because it took so long. We finally got AG, and now we're putting them back in. But we took reservations, and we've got the next phase, half of the next phase already reserved, and we don't have AG on that one. But we just said we'll take, anybody that's interested in the
Oh,
next
because
phase.
AG approves by phases?
They approve by phases.
That's right, yeah.
So right now, we just got our AG approval. We should have our first closings actually probably next week or the week
And you're
after.
gonna get me a copy of the AG?
Yes,
on the
it's
first
being
page?
recorded as we speak, Joan.
Okay, great, thank you.
I went down and signed some stuff with Andy. It was supposed to have been recorded yesterday. He didn't tell me he needed my signature. I went down and signed some stuff today, so it should be on record, and I'll have that over to you tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
So it's 40 here and 40 up here and 44 down here?
That's correct, yeah.
'Cause it looks like much smaller down.
So what it is that, the footprints are a little bit larger on the 55 and older, but there are less bedrooms. So the impact, yeah, the impact from a septic standpoint is much smaller, much smaller.
So what's the square footage on the over 55?
I think he said those were around 1,400 or 1,500 square feet, but they're all kind of like situated on one level where we got 2.
You're gonna have 2?
The other ones that we have up above, the normal units that we're doing, those are 2-story.
Oh, but the over 55s will be
Will
one
be,
more
yeah, they'll have
like,
like the ability to do a loft, but
Yeah.
it'll be really
yeah,
primarily on one floor.
that'll probably
Yeah.
be easier,
Yeah.
yeah. What is this pedestrian network?
So right now, we looked and we saw that you currently have a trail that travels down the old trolleyway.
Yep.
And continues down. Our thoughts are that we'd like to carry that up and through and tie it back into the sidewalk network and have it come back down around so that it could just, it could be another part of that, because the people that we have in here, we're hoping will be active and utilize the network that we have that goes out to Morris Falls and all the benefits that are along that river.
So what do you mean
There'll be
wrap
public
around?
access to those, for those trails?
We don't have an issue with that, yeah, I mean, we're trying to get that connectivity.
So you would
you'd
connect,
go all the way to the horse farm?
Yep, so, well, this, right now, the way that works is this goes across Morris Falls, and then it would be able to connect up into the,
Yeah, so it'd be
Yeah.
on our
It
trail
would,
system.
yeah,
for
it
more-
would be then, yep.
so that would, I mean, that's gonna create quite a bit of a trail system.
yeah,
Yep.
and then this wooded part in the middle would stay wooded?
So that would all stay just the way it is, yeah.
That was a field, actually, not
The
two.
field is the one
Uphill.
directly behind you, you can see the commercial building?
Well, there is a field, yeah, next to the
LRC?
auto parts
Yes,
place,
yeah.
yes.
And there's a field up there right now that Charlie's still,
And Charlie's still, yeah, I don't know if he's doing anything this year or not, he said he was gonna, but
No.
I
yeah,
haven't been up there
you
in
haven't seen it?
a couple of weeks.
For, what was that, Diane?
Charlie has a field up there
Okay.
too.
Yeah. He
But I
was-
think he's, because of the PFOAs, I think he can only do beans up
Okay.
there.
Pumpkins are up there.
Yeah.
Are there pumpkins up there? Okay.
Yeah, I know when I talked to, it's funny, Colton, who's now farming our piece for,
The guy from Malvern?
yes.
Nice.
He, is actually purchasing one of the units up there, which is nice to see.
Yeah,
So
At
it's
Corey?
I
awesome.
like that, yep.
So,
At the Horseman?
Short commute.
very short commute. I'm very happy for him. He's just a wonderful individual and just nice to see that,
Yeah.
he's able to do that.
Reggie, does this, it says 40 and then 44, so 88 total?
88 totals what's shown. And again, we're not in a hard stage. This is what
Yeah.
the land would allow for based on the soils, because we've done all the soils out there. This is what the land will allow for, based on the soils, what our people think that would work.
Now,
I'm not
the
100%
place
sure.
that was looking to buy this before got pulled out because of wetland.
Yeah, and again,
issues.
we've looked at the soils, we've got them all mapped out. So, we'll be sharing that with you guys for sure.
Wasn't there, where you have the cluster of houses up front? If I think,
When Barron's came in for
yeah, when
there,
Barron's came in, wasn't there wetlands in there?
I'm not sure where you're,
up in,
Okay.
Up in the top
up in the
section
top,
of 40.
up here.
no, this is all, when we went up in here, there's some poorly drained soil here. But all of this, all in here, this is all gravel in here. This is all coarse sand in here.
Yeah,
And there was a small area here
Which is a field now.
that was just poorly drained.
Yes.
Yeah,
Small area.
small area there.
Charlie's like
So
over
it didn't meet the
here.
requirements?
No, wait, that's St. Francis Street.
Maybe
anything
Barron's
else?
didn't have a wetlands
Okay.
person in there, I don't know, but
Yeah,
I was thinking.
And then-
that was the only
wetlands
thing,
right there.
and we did look at some of the other areas, because we were
Yeah.
told to look at some other areas around, the site that we did look at to make sure that there are some drainage, areas that were also created. But again, we've taken all of that into consideration and put all our setbacks in and according to that, so. But this, again, like I said, nothing's cast in stone. We'll be going out and doing a walk and getting all that other, all that stuff
Are you
done,
planning
so.
any garages?
So all of these homes, I believe, have all of the ones that you see up top, all of those have the same garages like we do.
Yeah.
These are identical units. And then the ones down below have just a one-stall garage with a parking right in front of it, because they typically don't have more than that. And then you can see we've got extra parking throughout, in the neighborhood in several spots for guests.
this pedestrian, walkway, I guess, that's going over to Moores Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that something that you're gonna maintain?
I would assume that that's, this particular leg here, I believe you guys already are maintaining that.
We don't really maintain that for the winter, though, it's because it's
Well, but it's the old trolley line.
Trolley.
the old trolley
yeah.
track,
Right,
we
and
don't
so
plow it
it's-
or anything.
No, it's just a trail.
Yeah, it's
So
just a trail.
that's the existing trolley line right there.
Actually,
area.
this is already exists, the trail, because
Right.
here's St. Francis.
Yeah,
Right. So
can
we're
go all
gonna,
the way
we're
back.
basically gonna continue that all the way back until it hits where you see I think it's called the LRC, if I'm, I don't, the auto
what?
parts store. The auto parts
Oh,
wholesale.
LKQ.
LKQ.
There you go.
I was messing that up pretty bad.
So, okay, so,
One of the
yeah,
letters
but
right.
LKQ's over here,
Yeah.
so.
There's an existing trail that kinda goes down back there, and there's
It
an
goes
out,
all the way down to it.
yeah, there's an outfall.
Yeah,
It comes down, it's in rough
and then we
shape.
have a sinkhole, I told you about our sinkhole.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
in rough shape. We're gonna have to do something with that.
So you'll help us with that?
Yeah, there's gonna have to be something done with that, cause,
That'd be
You know where
great.
that is.
Oh, I
It's
know
a
exactly where that
trash
is.
pit
I've
down there.
traversed that
Yeah.
before. It's-
yeah, that's gonna have to be dealt with. Yeah, when my wetlands guy
It's a
went
little
out there and looked
dicey.
at that, he goes, you know, you're gonna have to deal with this, and I said,
A bridge.
it needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, because we poured gravel to it, that didn't work, because the culvert is totally shot.
Yeah, it's gonna need some embankment improvements, and,
Then did you get to the part where, but I think the part where it meets with LKQ is where that
there's.
dumping is.
with
The
what is-
dumping on the trail,
Yeah, just before you get to that, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, Yeah.
or am I not?
yeah, and you can't really get there to clean it up because of it's not, that is very sketchy to pass
So
through.
that's not on this property?
It's right,
Yeah, it's
it
right here.
is.
You can see the little ravine type thing.
It's kind of, Joan, if you look at the first building down there, it's kind of like right here, that area that you're talking about, it's right here.
Like right in here?
The dumping area, yeah, there's a bunch of garbage right in
Yeah,
here,
it's been there
yeah.
forever. Okay, yeah.
And that, when we get down there, we'll end up cleaning all that up too.
Oh, that'll be good. Because there's the stream that comes in there too. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's Leech Brook or,
Yeah, there's a stream that comes down along the side of, what is that tube place there?
New England Tube.
Yeah, so it's very defined, goes straight down along that, actually follows the property line.
Okay, this is,
I don't know if it was created originally by the original farmers, but it follows that property all the way down, and then it kind of curves out to get around the other building there,
Isn't that where the swing used to be?
and travels down.
the what?
There was a swing back there. Is that where that swing used to be?
That's what he's saying, yeah.
Behind
The
Small
rope
Tube?
swing?
Behind Small Tube, there was a,
I think so, yeah.
It's kind of shallow.
It could be on funny.
depends on
times,
what time of year.
Yeah. Well, if it's high, I wouldn't want to be in it because of the speed of the river, and if
I
it's
know,
low, I
right?
wouldn't want to be in it because of the,
Well, I think that's why they
Rocks.
stopped letting the kids go down there. I think
Smart.
there was a drowning
Hmm.
as well.
Reggie, are you sure that you own the railway piece right here, the
no,
panhandle?
I don't, this is, so here's,
I'm looking at the map here.
Serves
all I
nice
can
and
say is that it's owned by Colby.
Yeah, and they rent it to us. Part of it they rent.
Right.
No, we have a lease, but the section by Morris Falls, Public Service gave to us, the short section. Colby still owns the
So,
lease on there, or whatever from,
It does, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
They
we
own
have-
so you
that.
have to talk to
Right
Mr.
of way.
Mahoney.
we haven't,
Attorney
to answer your
Mahoney.
question, we haven't done title on it, but I'll give you a little history. When I bought the farm, and, not literally,
Kinda,
Sounded funny.
kinda,
no
but
pun
not that
intended
way.
there. When we had the farm, and we did the title on the farm, we noticed that the trolleyway that went through there was owned by a Colby family. We researched it back, we tried to notify all of the Colbys. It had been used by the farm for many, many, many years without any contention or anything. So we did quiet title on that. We actually went in and we filed with the courts and we quiet titled that and we took ownership to it. Okay? We couldn't find anybody that owned it. I would imagine that this is probably very similar to that. It may require quiet title. The Colby family is a very large family, and there's all kinds of aspects and webs from that family. And apparently way back in the day when the trolleyway wanted to get, or Eversource wanted, or Public Service wanted to get rid of it, they weren't gonna go out and kind of look at everybody, so they just kind of, one person, the Colbys, ended up getting a lot of it.
Well, they said if you had land on either side of it, you could claim it.
You could claim
and
it.
That's why Colby's
So
claimed a
they
lot
got a
of
lot
it.
of stuff. And again, in that case, they didn't own anything at the farm, but they got it deeded to them.
George Colby,
So-
you know,
So,
he was,
Mark,
Smart. So anyway, that's, that might be in the same boat, Jason, to answer your
Okay.
question. And we'll know further. I haven't done title on the property yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at the GIS here, it kind of shows that strip right there is owned by Colby, which is
Right.
our trail.
Yeah, that's the one we lease.
Yeah.
It's 1.91 acres. That
Narrow,
narrow
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You put a
Get this
single
through.
family on there.
In this farm.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Duplex, maybe.
We do duplex.
My
The
question,
zone won't allow for it.
It's not a buildable, it's
yeah,
not,
my
it's,
question
know,
is
we know.
farm.
Maybe you could put a Dunkin's there.
So, Colby allowed,
Yellow's still-
I wanna say, I think it was McQuestion that was
Yeah.
farming it.
Another Robert.
And my understanding is they're still, still allowing them to do that.
Yep.
But I don't think anybody's been out there, at least I didn't notice anybody when I was out there doing all the test bits throughout the
I think
site.
they might have last year, I don't remember. But,
It definitely looked like it was tilled last year for sure.
and it all goes through Richard Mahoney in, Auburn, I think he is.
Okay.
But that, his, name's on the assessing card.
Yeah, I know when I went to acquire this, I couldn't get the broker to respond, and I ended up having to find the Colbys directly, and,
That's, but they weren't happy about that, you couldn't get.
No.
Okay.
no, they weren't too happy to hear that it was difficult to get a hold of anybody to get the response, but we got it through. And the people, with the Realty Group are wonderful, they've been really, really helpful, so it's been good.
All right, any other questions on this?
So the, beyond the yellow brick road here on the pathway, this is part of the property also, this riverfront.
I don't
No,
believe,
no,
that doesn't
that's
belong to
ours.
us.
That's ours,
That's
yeah.
yours, yeah,
Because behind St. Francis is ours.
yeah.
Okay, got it. And these green lines are, these hashed green lines are topo lines of some
They're more
sort?
to show you the two distinct neighborhoods, one 55 and older, and the other one being the regular, no age restricted.
Okay.
They're gonna be sold though, right? Not rented.
So those, the intention right now, I'm looking at them, we've got a very large contingent of people that wanna rent as well as own. We, as you know, we're just doing the second phase right now for the rentals. And, I've had to tell Deb to just slow it down. I mean, cause we're not able to deliver them as fast as they want us to deliver them. People wanna live here in town. They really do. They don't wanna live in the cities, they don't wanna live in the new, the new type of housing. If you're familiar with the Slate over in Merrimack, we've had several people leave there and come over here. So the one right by the outlets, the outlet malls there.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it wants
They're
to
big
be over there.
apartments, yeah.
Yeah, and they're, the rents are very similar.
Why are they moving? They just don't like the traffic or over there? Or-
I think it's, number one is it's a little too boxed in, that's one. Number two is what we're being told is that there's a lot of common amenity fees. And they're not something that they can control, it's just they have all these, open, what do they call those flame tables? For people to sit outside.
Yeah.
And all that gas gets billed to all the units, it gets split by all the units, so people that are trying to retire that have moved there, they can't control their monthly spend. And so they don't want that, so they've moved out and moved over. So we've had-
Really quick question.
Huh?
What do you know about Eastman and Grantham?
Eastman and Grantham? I built there years ago, it's a long ways. And I know my pickup truck had a hole in the floor, and when I came home on a rainy night, I was showering the whole way home. That's what I know about Grantham.
They were built in 1981, I'm thinking,
It's a pretty neighborhood, I mean, I haven't been out there in probably 20 years, to be
it's
honest.
well kept up, but
But they got their own, I don't know how good the ski area is with it, because I don't think they make snow, but they had their own ski area.
no, they don't have that anymore, because you're close to Centerville, so.
Yeah,
Between taxes and everything, it runs about 10 grand a year.
Yeah.
Because you pay Eastman and you pay a condo fee.
yeah, and it's all dirt roads. So, but it's kind of an interesting
Conservation
place,
business
because there's over 2,000 units. Still quite a few lots over there last time.
Talking about Route 89.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a ride,
You
Yeah,
moving,
I know.
Joe?
Is there some land in Litchfield Conservation to be purchasing up there?
yeah. That's an interesting one, though, because like I said, when they did that, it was a master plan for, I think it was over 2,000 units.
I think it is.
And it was all dirt roads, and it was supposed to be a very conservative, very conservation-focused, living. And, the lots aren't small. I mean, aren't big. They're small lots.
Three-story buildings, too.
Yeah. I mean, I was amazed when I drove out there to see what they had out there, and I was like, wow. But, yeah, I had a couple of customers that wanted me to build custom homes out there.
No, there's regular homes, too, yeah. Good. Okay, I won't divert anymore.
Reggie, I just had a last question. On the-
Sure.
On the 40 units,
Yeah.
you're saying that those, what you're proposing right here, and we know it's just conceptual, those 40 units would look like what you currently have right now?
Yeah, very similar, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other ones are one story?
The other
With
ones
a
would be potential loft, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Potential what, loft?
Potential loft. Yeah, a lot of times, if people have somebody stay over, they have a loft and needs
Roman
55
loft.
and older, so.
Or as they get older, they
We
may
put
sometimes
Harry
have
up
a
in the
living.
Yeah.
If they
All
get
those-
sick or whatever,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, yeah.
we do.
Yeah, we haven't, we've got some suggested plans, but we haven't made any decisions. But pretty much all of the ones that we're seeing do have that ability to do a loft. It's not a must, but it can be designed into the plan. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I very much appreciate
Can
it.
we hold on for 1 second for a quick non-public?
Oh, sure, yeah.
All right, yeah, so, for those, online, we're gonna take a quick break to go into a brief non-public session where there's a couple things we need to discuss. Per RSA 91-A:3, D. This is for consideration of the acquisition, sale, or lease of real or personal property. So we'll just take a quick break and we'll be back shortly.